Hello and welcome to this discussion on your IP or future with Creative First. Our guest today is actor, editor, and filmmaker Vipin Kumar Sharma. Vipin made his acting debut with Doordarshan's television series Bharat Ek Khoj in 1989, followed by his feature film debut in Krishna. He drew a lot of attention for his portrayal of Nand Kishore Awasthi in Amir Khan's Tare Zameen Par. He was later nominated for his first ever screen award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Tare Zameen Par. He has also acted in many eminent films like 1920, Kartik Calling Kartik, Sahib Bibi or Gangster, Pan Singh Tomar, Gangs of Wasipur, and Hotel Mumbai. He has recently starred in Amazon series Patal Lok as DCP Bhagat. And of course, I've watched most of your films. So, Vipin,
Thank
welcome to this discussion with us.
thank you.
Your story has been very inspiring, not just for people in the creative industry in general. And, we'd like to understand a little bit about how your journey evolved from television to films.
From television to films. Well, I studied acting at the National School of Drama. And then when I started doing theater in Delhi, I was simultaneously started really getting attracted to cinema. And I felt cinema was a very powerful medium. And it was kind of new for me, but my attraction towards cinema grew stronger, and eventually I ended up working with Ketan Mehta. I assisted him on a couple of feature films and a teleplay, and worked with Shyam Benegal sir. So from then onwards, I never went back to theater. I continued working in mostly in films.
And how did your theater training help you as an actor in films?
I think it helped greatly because it kind of makes you understand the very basics of acting in a way. Because I believe when you go to a theater school, you're very young, and so your personal understanding is not very elaborate. So it gives you an opportunity for 3 years to read a lot of books that are available about international plays, international talent, actors, writers. You end up seeing a lot of films, and you end up working with a lot of international directors. So your horizon expands, and I think it really helps tremendously because your own experience when you start at a theater school or in a theater group is usually not a lot. That's why you joined a theater group or a theater school. So the expansion really is amazing. Actually, I think everyone benefits from that, just given the nature of the training and the exposure to all these wonderful things.
And what were some of the challenges that you faced and how did you overcome them?
Uh,
I think this applies to most budding actors who've just
mm,
possibly gone to acting school, they've done their bit in theater, they're a little overwhelmed about cinema. Some of them would have not got a chance in cinema, and they would love to understand what were the various challenges that one would face and how you can be best prepared for a career in film.
well, first, my challenge was very different. My challenge was so strange and bizarre that I ended up not acting for over a decade, actually. Because somehow I never thought I was a good actor, or I was an actor. That I kind of, after a point, I became a bit disillusioned with the whole thing. So I quit acting for a very long period of time, and finally, when I got back to it, I realized that it had something to do with my inner strength, inner acceptance that yes, I am an actor, which wasn't there before. So I needed a long time to kind of come back to it. And also during that time, I didn't go away. Like I kept involved in the filmmaking. I became an editor. I edited a lot of things. Uh, I kept myself immersed in the same kind of thing. Like I kept reading, kept making small films, and editing is also something really one of the most amazing parts of filmmaking. That it really gives you an insight into acting and storytelling a lot, because you look at it in a very personal way. It's right in front of you. It's not something you read. You look at it constantly. So it really allows you to dig deeper, actually. So I, kept doing that, and so yeah, stayed close to it, although I had quit it for a long time. Yeah.
So, in your experience working as a filmmaker and as a writer, I'm sure you've come across a lot of instances, maybe not personally with you, on, copyright theft, people stealing each other's scripts. Just wanted to understand your viewpoint on two things. What are the possible challenges or what precautions writers should take? And, is there anything that they can do to avoid such instances?
It's quite a sad thing actually that someone can take someone's idea and claim to be theirs. It's quite it's horrible actually. But what happens is there are a lot of people say, creative people always say, the ideas are floating in the air. Anyone can catch any idea, and like I have had experiences where I have thought of an idea and then I saw it later on being materialized. Nobody stole it. It just was the same idea that I had. So that could happen. There are ideas, and imagination is free to grab onto anything. But I think good practice is always to get your work registered through the Writers Association, and also don't send it to everyone. Send it to people you trust. And uh, I personally feel that it's a. I mean, how will you not share your idea, and how will not, if you're a new filmmaker, a new writer, you have to share your work, and you might have to share it with a lot of people actually. So it's going to be a risk always. You never know what's going to happen, but it's a good
Yeah, so
practice.
registration, yes, I agree with you. So maybe they should
Yeah,
just be
absolutely, absolutely.
right.
And
Um,
try not to talk about your idea to like a lot of people. Just share it with some people that you trust, who are close friends. Sometimes someone can hear an idea. They may not necessarily steal it, but few years later they might think of the same idea, forgetting that they heard it from you. That's also a possibility. So you have to be careful.
how can young writers, take their script to screen? Could you share a little bit about how they can best market it? How should they really go about it? Maybe they've registered their script as well.
Yes, they must. They must. Actually, whenever someone approaches me to read a script, I always tell them, don't send it to me without having registered it. Register it and then send it to me. Email is another way, because if someone emails me, they have a proof that they have emailed me in a way. But it's better to register it, have a number on it on the front page and all that. These days there are a lot of writers' room. Almost every big production house has writers' room. I know some writers who are always asking me, looking for assistants who can, help them write. So best way is to kind of, explore the writers' room. Uh, Send it to production houses. Almost all production houses have now a department where they read the scripts and they will get back to you if they like it or not. Those are the ways. Or if you know someone personally and you can reach them, and you can, best is to sometimes write a synopsis of 1 or 2 pages, so that you can very quickly tell someone your idea, and then it sometimes becomes easier for them to read the script, because they know the idea, they like the idea, they like the synopsis, and now they want to read the script. That also is a good way. It's like, you never know from where your film will get made. No one knows. So I
Yes,
guess
but
you
you
keep
give it
trying.
a chance. Yes.
You keep trying. If you believe in your dream and if you believe in your script, you will keep trying. I mean, there's no way you won't.
So, with so many online curated platforms like Hotstar, Netflix, what's your view when it comes to filmmakers and actors showcasing their talent?
I
The
think it's
opportunities available for them.
I think it's brilliant. A lot of new writers, not a lot of new talent is emerging. Not only just in writing, acting also, and direction also, because OTTs are giving an opportunity. It's a bit streamlined in terms of the workings. Everything is insured. There are contracts. It's quite good now. Like it has become a system now, which is great actually. I think it's brilliant. It's bringing a lot of people, a lot of new talent. I wish there was more. I wish we spent more time on scripts. I wish we spent more time on exploring ideas.
So many online curated platforms like Netflix, Hotstar. Do you see, there is enough opportunity for new talent and filmmakers, and if so, how?
Yes, there is a huge opening for a lot of new writers, filmmakers, actors. So there is, because there is consumption. There's a huge number of in India we have so many people really always wanting to see something. So the consumption is huge and the opportunities are there. I just wish we spent more time on our writing. We spend more time on our preparation. I feel because the demand and supply thing is a bit kind of like that in India. So we keep supplying. Production houses keep supplying. I wish we slow down a bit so that the more great content could come forward and things like that. But yes, absolutely, there are so many new writers and new actors and new talent. It's actually excellent. It's a golden period in that sense, and I'm sure that because of that there is a system also in place. Like there is a system of production, insurance, and contracts, and entertainment lawyers are now needed, like to look into the contracts and things like that. So I think it's good. We should have a system because up until now we've been suffering because we don't have a system. We still need a long way to go if we compare ourselves to the West. We still need a long way to go, actually.
So if you could talk about a little bit about, you said that we have a long way to go. I mean, what are the things that you think that we still need to institute in the system?
Uh, I think, as I said, we should spend more time on writing. We should spend a little more time on scripts. We should spend a little more time on exploring our subjects. Maybe in acting also, we should spend more time, really work intensely. Like I've seen the West people work for a year on something, and then the results are just awesome. You need it's a work that needs a little bit of patience, not a little bit of patience, lots of patience, and it needs scrutiny on a very deeper level, because after all we are talking about human emotions, and human emotions are not so easy to be explored within, say, a week or so. I wish we spent more time. I wish we give more time to actors, we give more time to writers. Above all, give more time to writers. And but that's the nature of the beast. It is like that. It's unfortunate, but that's my opinion, that we need more time.
You said you spent a decade honing your skills in other areas of filmmaking. Could you share some best practice, something that you've learned for our young viewers? You also spoke about time a little bit back, about immersing yourself, or, immersion in a project. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
uh, as I said, I kept involved. I stayed involved in because of my background. As a kid, I used to love reading. I think that was one of the blessings that I grew up with. I used to go to this library and like take out books on stories from Rajasthan, stories from Bengal, stories from Europe. I was very fascinated by stories right from my childhood. That interest stayed with me, and I think post NSD, despite me being not very confident uh, as an actor, I still stayed in touch with a lot of those things. I was very interested in painting. I was very interested in reading stories, a little bit of music. So I guess it's some things are there in your personality. Some things are part of you, and they are there right from your childhood, and they themselves will make you on your toes. They will make you if your heart is into reading stories, you would crave for one. You would crave for books, you would crave for music, whatever it is. But you need to you need to feed your soul with all the things that you think are important for you. Like I never took a job. I never took a job in the sense that because I wasn't acting, so okay, let me take a job. All the editing jobs were always very easy because you have your own time, you can go whenever you want. But as long as you finish your edit, you're okay. So that way I could kind of sustain myself. And you know what's at the back of my head, I always had this thing that I will go back to acting at some point. And I used to meet Irfan whenever I came to India, and I used to chat with him, and I used to say, one day I will come back to acting. So I knew that I am gonna come back. I guess that also helped that I had not totally forgotten it. So yeah, remember your dream, remember your passion. If it is strong, it'll come back to you. You don't have to worry about that. I believe that.
So Vipin, I've watched your shows, and I think I seriously believe you're a very fine actor. What attracts you to a story?
What attracts to me a story? A lot of things. Characters, first of all, what they are doing, who are these people, and what they are talking about. Like, what's the story about? Is it something that is socially relevant? Is it something that will really contribute a lot to society? Is it something which is just entertainment, or is it something that people will watch it and after they leave the theater or they switch it off, will they remember it? What will they think about it? All those things are quite important for me. I think of those things when I see a story. Actually, just last week, uh, I don't know if you know Robert McKee. Robert McKee is one of the most amazing authorities on screenplay writing, story writing. His book
Right.
is Story, which is, of course, he was doing a seminar in London for 3 days, and I just decided I want to go. And in the afternoon, I took a decision. I was kind of dilly dallying, being a little lazy, procrastination, and all that. But then I said, okay, let's go, let's do this, because I thought it'll be a good investment into myself. And I went there. I was in London for 3 days, and I had a great time. Ever since I came back a couple of weeks ago from his seminar, my mind is I'm looking at everything very differently. I'm looking at everything, every film, every web series that I'm watching now. I feel as if I'm looking at it from a new pair of eyes. So doing that and also try and keep learning, because that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting, because while you're also exploring acting roles, you're also not only looking at just scripts from an acting point of view, but you actually went for a workshop to understand how scripts are written. And I
Yes.
think that's a very important aspect that I think actors can also consider, because that will give you, like you rightly said, a better judgment when you read your next acting script. Was there anything else that, you thought was that really stood out in that workshop?
Just the way he places a story into a very big context of humanity. Like, he doesn't look at a story as something that is characters and an idea and a story. He puts it into a very different context, which is very big. Like, he looks at a story from a very big perspective of the entire humanity, the entire human race. So it's very interesting to see how a story is not just one specific place. It's not just a story in Mumbai. It's a story taking place in Mumbai, but it has international connections. It has a connection with the entire universe, and I think that was quite amazing to understand, or I tried to understand that.
So, we're seeing a lot of popularity, right? We're seeing a lot of rise in popularity in South films.
Hmm.
Of course, there's a whole angle to it where the picturization, special effects are also a huge part of it. But is there anything that's really standing out for you
To be
without
very
really
honest,
comparing?
to be very honest with you, I have been watching some excellent Malayalam cinema, The Great Indian Kitchen, and things like that. I am not a very mainstream kind of a guy. I should see them, all these films that people have been talking about, but I'll be very honest with you, I have not seen them. And I feel, cinema is such a medium that it doesn't, and now it's more so because of the OTT and all that. People have started watching movies with subtitles and things like that. It if they connect with people, they will connect, no matter whether they are. Language is not a barrier. It's emotion that people connect to, and so it's a sign that cinema is not restricted by language. It is an emotion based thing. So people, Hindi films become popular in South Indian films become popular in the Hindi belt. it's pretty natural and pretty normal actually. I am not surprised by it, or I'm not. I also don't look at it as a threat because it's like I it's great actually that we are now seeing films so easily. Like I'm glad that I saw Great Indian Kitchen with subtitles. So it's fantastic. Why not? We are one nation, so we should be able to see.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. What's your advice to aspiring actors?
Keep at it. Keep at it. Take every rejection as a sign that uh, that you are in the race. Because through rejections you learn a lot, I believe, and it also tells you that you maybe need to work more. But above all, just stay inspired, stay positive, stay inspired, keep looking at great cinema, keep reading, whatever it takes for you to get up every day and say, I'm gonna do it. That's
Do
the
you
best.
think do you think people who haven't gone to an acting school stand a chance to be in films if they just want to if they're aspiring to be an actor?
Oh, absolutely. There are so many people who didn't go to any film school. There's
And
so
so
many.
what are the essential crafts that they should look at?
Uh, Acting is such a thing that you don't need a certificate. If you want to be a dentist, you probably need a dental association or whatever. If you're a doctor, you have a degree. Acting doesn't require anything. If you're able to do it and people get moved by it, that's the qualification. So I don't think there is any particular way for. I mean, train yourself. I will not. I still put a lot of emphasis on training. I think training is essential and is very important. It only enhances your talent. So there's nothing wrong with training. If you can train yourself, train, because actually now there is more. You will see more trained actors these days than untrained actors. Uh, because training gives you a way to systematically study something. You get into a class with other people. You study something. It's your time. You're not worried about anything else. You just want to study it. I think learning a craft is very important. And why not? I jokingly tell some people, "Will you go to a dentist who's not trained for your dental work? You won't. Why should you go to an actor who's not trained?" I'm not saying untrained actor or there are a lot of people who not have no training. But even then, if you find out, if you dig deeper, they are trained somewhere. They've done theater or some. There must be some connection, even if they are not trained in an institution. There must be some connection. So I think training is very important. It's. I think it's a must. One must find a way to understand it technically, and also every acting is also a craft. You need to understand it. Apart from the intuition that you apply to it, there is a craft also. So
So to conclude, tell us about your upcoming projects. What are the roles that you're looking at?
I have some very exciting things coming up. I actually was very bizarre. I was writing dialogues for an Amazon show. Believe it or not, it was on virus. And when I was writing it, the COVID was nowhere in sight. And I used to write the dialogues and think, oh my God, but this will never happen. It's fiction. About 5 6 months, things started happening, and I was like completely shocked. So that's one show that has been completed. It's in the editing process. I acted in it also. So that's there. I did a show with Raj and DK called Guns and Gulabs, which we shot in Dehradun a while back. That's also in the post. I did a film with Nawaz that is also in the post production. Just recently did a film with Gulshan Davaiya also, which is also just finished last week actually. And also I'm working on a couple of my own things. I love writing, and with that Robert Muki seminar, I am gearing more excited now to relook at the stuff that I've been writing. So I have a feature script that I've been working on, apart from a couple of short film ideas that I would really like to explore. So yeah, exciting times for sure.
So, Vipin, thank you so much for sparing time in your hectic schedule. I mean, I can just imagine you're doing so much and balancing so many plates. Your insights were very, very useful. I'm sure our viewers will learn a lot from it. Thank you so much for joining this discussion.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor. Thank you.
Mm.
Bye.